Greetings! I am Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome! We're continuing our discussion on other role-playing game systems. I'm going to bring in the fourth one I wanted to talk about. Aberant. Alright, so let's start talking about Aberant. What is it? It's part of the Trinity series of games. It's going to be the middle game. Trinity takes place over 3 games at different timelines that all have the same world setting. One takes place in the 1920s, the other takes place 100 years after Aberant. Aberant's the one that mimics our timeline, so it's very close to our point in time. So what is Aberant? Aberant is a superhero game system. You're going to play a comic book character, effectively. You're playing a Nova. Novas are the names for superheroes. Like Marvel used the word mutants to describe them, or Inhumans. Aberant uses Novas. So, a little background on it. Novas came about in 98 was when the first one erupted. Novas erupt into power, that's what they call it, when some kind of traumatic happens in their life. And traditionally their powers are based a little bit around that trauma. All Novas have an MR node in their brain. It's a special node that allows them to manipulate quantum energies. And it's these quantum energies which give them their powers. So that explains the powers that are in the universe. We have a whole bunch of people erupting into these powers, gaining these nodes in their brain, and then getting the ability to manipulate the world universe through quantum energies. And the normal gameplay takes place in 2008. So we've gotten 10 years of superheroes in this world setting, and it mimics our world pretty well. There's different history just because of the earlier game of the Trinity series and how things work out. But that's the basic sort of world setting. And the main Aberant book has nearly 100 pages of backstory on how people feel about Novas, how they're reacting to them, how things have been going. A lot about how there's, hero organizations, supervillain organizations, all that sort of thing. And then there's people with powers that use their things almost as terrorists, others that, are in the military, others that are just part of these hero groups. And it's a very good background to the world. And you don't even have to read it all. I've read it all. You don't have to read it all. You just have to have an idea of the world. And you can ask your game master how your character will fit into this world. He will let you know some of it. Maybe he's just going to say you are a Nova in the world, and the story will evolve how you act on it. Or maybe you're already part of a superheroing team, and he's going to let you know that ahead of time. So, let's talk about the system. This system in Aberant is a D10 system, but it's not any D10 system. It's the White Wolf D10 system. What's that? So, I'm going to give a little backstory. White Wolf is a publishing company which has come up with its own system, which it uses in a lot of its games. Not all of them, but many of them are D10 games. Their main universe is the World of Darkness. If you haven't heard of the World of Darkness is a series of role-playing games, which each game has a very similar system, and they're set in the same world, but each game is based on a different supernatural creature that you would play as. There's Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Hunter the Reckoning, Mage the Ascension, many others. There you can be demons, changelings, ghosts, mummies. They have all these different races. And the thing is, the basics for character creation are the same for all of them. It's the things that give you the powers. It's a little details here and there that makes them different. But the characters are compatible with each other. Novas are compatible with these others. The problem is they might not stack up as base characters as much to each other. And there's the problem, is figuring out where they stack up base character power level. Your mage might not be as powerful as a base character as someone's vampire, and if you had to compete together, or if you had them in the same world, the one would outshine the other, effectively. And so, but they came up with this system. It's a very good system. It's used in all these. So, learning what you can do here in Aberant, you could play any of these systems, basically. Again, there are slight differences, especially in how the powers are chosen, but that's the big thing. Alright, so as I said, it's a D10 system, and you're going to be rolling a lot of d10s. Your checks are going to be based on your attributes combined with your abilities or powers. And you're going to have these two numbers, add them together, and that tells you how many d10s you roll. Once you roll your d10s, a 7 or higher counts as a success in Aberant. Other systems might say differently, just because in Aberant you're a hero, you're very powerful, you have more success. I would check with your GM what a success is in that system. Traditionally, off the top of my head, 7 is around the number you'll need. And traditionally, for most checks, you only have to get 1 success, and you've done it. There could be others where your degree of success matters, so that means maybe you want more than 1 success, or if you're going against an opponent opposed, the number of successes determines who wins, but you're just going to roll those d10s, see what's higher, with 7 or higher. Now there's a couple other special things included in this. Your GM, or storyteller as they often call it in the White Wolf system, could tell you that you automatically succeed on this type of check. Maybe you have so many dice, he's like, you're just going to automatically succeed, or it's just something that should be so easy, you don't have to roll for it. There's also botching. It's a critical failure to do it. What would happen is if you roll no successes on your dice roll, and you at least have one come up, you're considered to botch, which means like, maybe I'm trying to like throw a grenade back at an opponent. So rather than, throwing and missing him, so maybe the grenade still doesn't hit me or go off near, but it wouldn't go off near him, it would be, I would like drop it from my hand and it would fall at my feet. That'd be a botch. It could be less severe. I could throw it and it could hit my car, or I could throw it and hit my teammate. So it could be less deadly to me, or it could be more deadly to me. And the thing is, depending on what you're trying to do, depends on the severity of the botch too. Okay, let's talk about character creation in Aberant. It takes place in 2 phases. The first phase is you make your human character. You make your version of yourself as a human. You're using the basic White Wolf rules, and they mimic most of the other White Wolf games. There's this basic part here. And after you're done making your human character, you make your Nova character. So it's like, I'm my human. Oh, I've erupted into my powers. This is what I have. As a human, I have to choose 2 things, a concept and a nature. A concept tells you sort of what kind of character you are. They give a list in the book, but you could sort of make up your own. It gives you an idea of what kind of person you are. Nature makes a big difference too. You will have a statistic called willpower, and you can use points from it to do things. I'll explain that later, but your nature tells you what things you need to do to recover willpower. As long as you act within your nature, you recover it. So concept is a basic concept of your character. If you're like a soldier type, or you're a loner, or you're like, it's less exact than like, I'm an anti-hero, or that sort of thing. It's a little more sort of an ideal. Use the examples in the book to figure out what you want for your concept is. Look in the book for your nature. These are the first 2 things you choose because they're going to generally define what kind of character you're going to play. And once you've chosen them, we move on to your tributes. Now, Aberant, like all the White Wolf systems, has 9 attributes. And they're split up between a physical group of 3, a mental group of 3, and a social group of 3. Okay, so I define what these attributes are. Under physical, you have your strength, which is, of course, is your strength, your lifting, your carrying. You have your stamina, how tough your body is, how much, hits you can take. And you have your dexterity, which is, how lithe and how, spry you are, how acrobatic. Now, for your mental, you have perception, which is how good you are at using your senses, perceiving the world, noticing things. You have your intelligence, how smart you just generally are, your IQ. And you have wits, which is how, it's a little bit of how good you are at solving puzzles or coming up with stuff on the fly. So you have to think of intelligence as, sort of your book learning stat and how good you can come up with things. And wits is sort of your sort of trickery, sort of like, I can solve that puzzle, all of a sudden. They're separate, and they come up in different points in time. And anyway, then you have your social. Your social breaks down into 3 also. Your appearance, how physically attractive you are. It's as simple as that. I have a great appearance. You have your manipulation. It's how good you are getting people to do things you want, how good you are at manipulating people. And of course your charisma, which is your force of personality. It's like, when you speak, do people listen to you? Your manipulation is, I can get my speech to make someone do something for me. But your charisma is, I just speak and someone listens. It's that sort of thing. They're different, but they have these connections because they're all social stats. So how do I choose my social stats? Well, I should define how powers, attributes, and abilities work in Aberant. And again, many of the White Wolf systems. You come in dots, which count as ranks in it. Now, for your attributes, which I've mentioned, you get an automatic 1 dot in them. That's what you get as a minimum. You just get that 1 dot. In all the others, you start with 0 dots and have to build your way up. But you use your dot as a numerical rank in something. So for every dot I would have in, let's say, strength, when I have to make a strength-based roll, I would roll 1 die. So if I have 4 dots in strength, I'd roll 4d10. That's how it works. That's how you define it. So now we know about the dot system and how it's going to work and how it's going to look on the character sheet. You will see empty dots you have to fill in, except for the 9 base attributes where you get 1 bonus. Okay, now you can spend 7, 5, 3. What does this mean? Between physical, mental, and social, I choose a priority. I choose, let's say I want to be a physical-based character. I'm going to put my 7 there. Next up, I want to be pretty smart, 5. I'm going to be socially awkward, 3. Or I could be physically inept, my 3's there. Maybe I want to be really smart, 7's there. I could do okay in social, 5 there. So basically you have 7 points, 5 points, and 3 points. And you can assign each of these to one of the categories, physical, mental, social. That's how it works. And then you could spend those points 1 for 1. So if I'm putting my 7 points into physical, I could easily put 4 points into strength. Again, because I'm noting, 5 is the normal maximum for any of the attributes, for any abilities, for any powers. You theoretically can go above 5, but there's special rules for that, and you're not going to do it at character creation. That'd be something that would occur during the game. You might go up above 5, but for now, we're only going up to 5. So for my 7 points in physical, I could do 4 right away into strength and have this great strength. And maybe I don't really care about dexterity. I'm going to leave it as a 1. And then I'm going to put 3 into stamina. So I have a 5, 1, 4. All right. And that would be my 7 points. And I do something similar of splitting up the points between my mentals and socials, however I think my character is. However I think, is he intelligent? Is he witty? Is he perceptive? Is he, if I'm talking about social, is he charismatic? Does he have great appearance? Is he manipulative? You ask yourself these questions, you figure out how you want to split your points. But sort of like that first big choice of 7, 5, 3 helps define you what your character is. It helps get you an idea of what your character is going to be start. And of course, you're going to get more points in here. You're going to have chances to put more in here. But this is the basic human, remember? We're not even going superpowered yet. Now, you have to know, 1 is a very poor in any of these stats. 2 is human average. And you have to think is the best a human could be. That'd be 5. Now, if you have a 4 or higher in any of these attributes, you get something called equality. Now, I'll explain what it gives you later. But equality would be a word. If I have a high strength, let's say a 4 in it, it might be that I've got like the lifting quality, which would mean I would get a bonus when I'm lifting something. That's what it would mean. I'll explain what the bonus from equality is a little later on, but you think of, you choose a quality and it gives you a list of them in each of the attributes, and you use that quality to give yourself a bonus on certain circumstances when it applies. You have to see, in this check, does this quality apply? Alright, so that's it for today. We've done talking about attributes, and we've gotten the basics of our Aberant character done. Next time, we're going to start going into the abilities and the rest of the character build. Alright, so please, if you enjoyed the video, like it. Leave a comment. We always like a good discussion on these things. Of course, we're always looking for more citizens, so if you can and you want to, join the Empire, please. We're always looking for more people to join us. Join the fun. And until the next time, I bid you a farewell.